Welcome back this week, everybody, to Doing It with Styles. We appreciate you watching the show. We appreciate all the comments that you put on there, and thank you for supporting the station and the shows and the other shows that we have here. This week is going to be a little bit different. I have Christine Essex with me. Christine.
Hello.
Christine's got an interesting story that we want to make sure gets out there. This is Christine's son is incarcerated and has just recently become incarcerated, and I'm going to let her tell you the story on why we're doing this and why we're concerned. So, Christine,
Thanks, John.
fill us in.
Well, I tell you, it's a story that's worthy of putting out there so that we can make a difference, because in the system itself, individuals are usually treated like the same.
Right.
And they're not always the same.
That's right.
We know that. Come on. We have medical needs and intellectual needs, and when there's all kinds of needs that need to be taken care of on the inside as well as on the outside. So in 2016, my son was injured where he was shot in the leg. He ended up losing his leg above the knee. I have his leg here. See, this is his leg. So I have a son who's incarcerated without his leg. I'm holding his leg. It has a computer. It's set for his brain because he has brain injury. And he has medical seizures now from that. He has anoxic brain damage, which is different than traumatic brain damage, which is that it's a kind of an overall brain damage. It affects, in his case, his memory is very affected, and his cognitive abilities for processing rapid, fast information. He's not able to do that. So he can read, but he can't really repeat back what he read.
Right.
And so I've been his caregiver for 6 years. I was given legal guardianship over him because he was at first only the age of like 7. I'd say he's in his 20s. Now, early 20s.
You're talking about his mental capacity.
His mental capacity,
right.
yeah.
And I remember, when he first got out of the hospital, and it was. I mean, he had a hard time focusing. It was. It was sad.
Yeah, and he knew you. He had met you before,
right.
And then he did not know you.
Exactly right.
And he did not know me, nor does he know anyone from his past.
Right.
So
therein
lies
accident,
right. So therein lies the problem, because he received some charges, and he couldn't tell you whether he actually did these crimes or didn't do these crimes because there's no memory. And so the person who got put into prison is not the person that would have had the opportunity to create these crimes. They're completely different
right.
individuals. So they offered an Alford plea to him, which allowed him to say, I don't know if I did this, but the state has some evidence, so he couldn't stand a trial, cognitively stand a trial. And so the Alford plea allowed him to not go through the process of a trial and possibly end up in prison for 40 years or whatever. You know what I'm
right.
saying? He just couldn't. And so he got 4 to 20, and in his mind he thought, okay, this I can do this, Mom, I can do this. And we've been working to preparing him to actually do this. So
and how long was that? Because I mean, I seem to remember that this process from the time that he actually was told, or in other words, hey, this is how much time you could do, and they were trying to get him to sign this plea agreement for. I mean, this went on for almost a year, didn't it?
Oh, a year? 6 years.
Really?
Since 2016.
Really?
17, 18, 19, 20. 6 years. 6 years this has been going on, John. He's been to court over 80 times.
Holy
He's
moly.
been on house arrest for over 900 and some odd days, because they did not know what to do with him.
Right.
He's been compliant. He's been, his officers love him. He goes to adult daycare.
He's a sweet guy.
He's very sweet. He's very sweet and very loving and kind, because that's how we raised him again. I mean, like,
Yeah.
when you get love constantly fed to you, then you know only love back, and that's what we created, a man
Right.
of love. So, but that's the man who's in prison right now, and he really we felt like, okay, you can do this, son, and he's like, I can do it. That was on. We went to court for one sentencing on the 24th, September 24th, and they incarcerated him right from court.
No, not.
They sentenced him.
I know, but not the 24th of September.
It's August.
Yeah, because
is
we're
Septem-
just
oh, this is
we're
September.
only like
Sorry.
the 10th. Yeah.
Thank you.
No, it's
So-
okay.
So it was
I was thinking last year, but
August.
so it was last August.
24th. He had a hearing, a sentencing hearing in front of Judge Israel, who took him straight from court. Didn't need to. He had on a house arrest anklet, and he had to go to see Judge Hardy on the 30th. So there would, we've made every court appearance. There's
Right.
no threat. Yet they incarcerated him. That was very cruel and unnecessary. Matter of fact, he had to have a kidney stone procedure that we had to postpone the hearing 2 weeks before or something. And the judge actually sat there and said, well, basically my son scheduled that kidney stone procedure to get out of the court. And it's in the court records.
Right.
It's in the court records. He said this. And the attorney tried to tell him, I mean, come on, have you ever been able to really pick your date? You're told when you can go and have your
Right.
surgery. Well, they had an opening the morning of his scheduled hearing, and we took it because he had an 8 milliliter kidney stone that needed to be blasted, third one in 6 months. So he has health conditions. He sleeps with sleep apnea. He has high risk sleep apnea. He has the leg. He has cognitive issues, memory issues. I mean, the list is long. And the judge really said that and took him. So he was at CCDC. They took away his leg when he wore it into the court, into the jailhouse. Now, when he had been there before with the leg during some Stein, because they were trying to find him competent, 8 doctors said he was not competent. Stein said he was competent, and so he had to go on with all the charges and everything. But when he was there before, they let him have his leg. Here's the problem. When he was there, they didn't give him a wheelchair. So he couldn't go to the shower, because he couldn't take his leg off in the shower
Right.
and clean up. And so he was there for over a week with his leg on, and then he runs a high risk of infection.
Right. No way to clean it.
So interesting enough, they let him have it then, but they didn't let him have it now. Don't know their rhymes or reasons, don't understand. But I chose to bring the leg home because it's a $70,000 computerized leg that's made just for Rick, so that he can have a quality of life
Right.
and walk. And it's the only leg he knows.
Yeah.
He doesn't know, he doesn't remember a normal leg. So he's in there without his leg. He's in there.
And that's really the issue that has your concerns, is not that he's incarcerated, but the treatment that he's getting there, and the lack of recognition of his conditions.
Yes.
And the medication that he needs. If I remember correctly, you were telling me that he also has seizures.
Yes. Since the brain injury.
Right.
Or it's not a brain injury, I'm sorry. Since the anoxic brain damage,
Okay.
he has had seizures. So we stay very compliant with his meds. He takes antidepressants. He takes Boost Bar, which is a anti-anxiety. He takes gabapentin for the phantom pain in his leg. He takes the 2 seizure meds because he has breakthrough seizures. And so when they moved him from CCDC on the 1st, September 1st, right around either the 30th the night or the day, because I'm
Right.
not called, I'm
Yeah.
not alerted, I'm his legal guardian, I'm supposed to be taking care of him. I can't take care of him when I don't get phone calls.
Right.
So they whisked him off to high desert, and I was not told. I found out, and then he went, and then I found out from high desert back out through another source, because it wasn't, Ricky's not had a phone call yet under
Right.
his number or his name. Anyways, that he did not get medication for 3 days. Now, so that means that they sent him from CCDC to high desert without transferring his meds, which
Or his
left,
medical records.
or his medical records, which I delivered.
Yeah.
As many as I could, that I didn't overwhelm anybody with. No one's called me. When they do interviews with him, he can't answer any history because he has no memory from 2017 back.
Yeah.
So if you ask him, did you have chicken pox? Did you have any of these childhood
diseases.
He can't answer that. So when in prepping him to go to prison, which we came to terms that's what was going to happen, I said, honey, just call me. And when you can't answer something, call me and I will answer for you. I will help you get through this. He's not called me since the 1st, and today's the 10th. 10 days. He is without a lifeline, which is me, to answer any of his medical, to help him in any way to balance out confusion or anything that he may be facing. He's in there alone and is probably scared to some degree, but I understand that from inside out that he had a seizure. He had a seizure while he was in there without his medications, and was not treated or helped for it, was not taken into the infirmary.
So there, and I know for a fact out at, all of the correctional facilities have an advocate for the parents or family and for the inmates. Have you been able to talk to any of them, or?
No, I even have her name. I have her name and number in my phone. When I call, I left a message. She's not called me back. And when I called again last night, because I was going back and forth with the attorney, like begging them basically, please go out there, find out if he's okay, what's happening to him. Is his med list right? Are they giving him the proper meds? He gave me that name and number again. I call her and I'm like, and now it says, oh, I'm sorry, the phone is full.
The mailbox is full?
It's full. So that means not only is she not calling me back, she's not calling any family member back. So who advocates for those who need, now I'm his legal guardian, given that right from a judge, and yet not one person from that office, legal aid office, stood up or helped my son during any of this. Yet I'm still his legal guardian. But now as I'm understanding that once he's incarcerated, I may not be his legal guardian anymore.
The state is.
And so then, but they're not. They're
not looking out for his best interest.
No.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but there's a problem in the system.
Well, this
and
goes
I'm not
back
the
to
first
what goes back to what you were saying earlier about everybody that comes in that door gets treated the same, and they are not the same.
No.
They all have and not to make any excuses for anybody, but at least if memory serves me, while he was in custody, did he not die a couple of times?
5 times. And
they were able to resuscitate him.
They were able to resuscitate him. That probably added, though, to the brain injury, right? More lack of oxygen.
Right.
But yeah, I was actually given the right to go in to be with him on the 17th of October. And prior to that, since September 28th when he was shot, I hadn't seen him really. So I got permission to go in because they were Dr. Wheeler actually called me because a nurse a nurse stepped in and said, he has family. Metro never even called us or notified us of our son's injuries. Never once. We had to find out through our community, which I thank this community, because this community kept him alive and has kept our family supported every step of the way, and I'm blessed. But he, finally a judge said, because they wanted us to unplug him and let him go. And and I said, I haven't seen my son. I can't make that decision. I won't make that decision until I've spent time with him to see if there's anything there.
Right.
You know, and so she let me in to be with him on the 17th. And when I got there, they had already unplugged him, Metro, trying to get a statement from him before they lost custody of him. Now you go figure that. That's pretty scary. But so I didn't know anything about brain injuries. I could see the nurses were coming in and they kept suctioning him, and I didn't. So they didn't even have time to keep the suctioning going. And so intuitively, I just learned, and when it started doing it, I started suctioning him, and I kept him suctioned and alive, not even knowing that I was saving his life, but I was doing it. On the 20th, on the 19th, some Metro had seen him sitting up in a chair, and it was the first time I'd had him up, but he had pneumonia. So I put him in a chair and I strapped him in,
Right.
and because I wanted to get air and get the lungs going.
Right.
And it was the first time he even noticed. I mean, not that he didn't have a foot or a leg. Up to that point, it was weird. It was really weird. And so at that point, I said, got him back in bed, but at least I felt good about getting him up, and we had to keep him strapped because his mind wasn't working right at all. But some Metro cops went by, and I thought, that was uncomfortable, Well, they went back to the substation or wherever and said, hey, that Essex is up, and he's like sitting up, and he's fine. They didn't know.
Yeah.
They didn't. So then
They just walked by.
They came in on the 20th and took custody of him again. I was sitting with him, taking care of him, and I thought it was a joke. I honestly thought it was a joke. But then he basically told me he was going to arrest me or have me removed, and I realized this is for reals, and I can't even remember how I got out of the hospital. I was so devastated. Well, that night he died again. He aspirated because I wasn't there suctioning him.
Right.
And I begged the Metro cop to please suction him. They're not
going to do that.
They weren't going to do it, nor did they call anybody when he was in trouble. And so he died, and they resuscitated him. And then I got back into the hospital room on October 21st, and I never left his side again. And he never died on my watch. Never died on my watch. And now he's in their custody again, and he's sick. He's being mistreated. He's not getting his meds, and he's not able to communicate without someone understanding his limitations. Like, they look at him as just another guy, and he's not just another guy. He needs medical attention, and he needs to be understood, because I'm mom, right? This is so cute.
Right.
I can get frustrated with
Right.
him, and I'm mom. Okay, and I love him to death. But there's sometimes he's repetitive, sometimes that he doesn't process quick enough, and I might be, not having the greatest day myself, and I'll be like, and then I remember, okay,
Yeah.
it's Ricky. He's doing the best he can, and
Right. He's not doing it intentionally. He's
Right.
not trying to be a jerk.
exactly.
He's just,
he's just trying to he's trying to do the best. But when you don't know him and you have someone who maybe is more aggressive, he might get hurt just because of that. And I don't know how. I can't advocate for him. The person who can advocate for the families is unavailable. I spoke to the director of nursing, Sandra, and she told me
Is this at the correctional center?
At the correctional center.
Okay.
She said she couldn't, first I talked to someone the day before, and they said, well, he needs to sign a release. I said, he doesn't even know he needs to sign a release. Hello?
Yeah.
What are you going to, they expected him to ask for the release. No, does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah.
In a normal situation, maybe that makes sense. Not in his. I said, please, you don't understand. He doesn't know that. You have to get him the paper, and someone has to explain to him what he has to do in order for me to help him.
Right.
And she said, okay. And I was starting to get frustrated. Trust me, I was. And then nothing, crickets, nothing. So then I called and finally said, I want to talk to someone in charge. And so I called the CASA, the Southern Nevada Department of Corrections. And I said, explain my situation. And she said, well, I'll call over there for you. I said, well, good luck, because I can't get through.
Right.
Anyway, she probably has a back number. And I called and didn't hear from her. And then I called again and just said, I need to speak to the person in medical. Oh, no, the woman at CASA did get her, that Sandra. Somehow we got connected. She led me to her finally,
Gotcha.
hours later. I was on the phone. Anyways, I spoke to her, and she could tell I was getting frustrated, and she said she's a mom of a disabled, and that she could understand my concerns, and that she promised me she would get back to me in an hour. She's never called me back. When I've called her and left messages, she's not even returned my call. So I don't know what to do. I'm thinking maybe it's time for a civil suit against the state for the way they're treating a disabled person who deserves to have a leg, a quality of life, and be in the most unrestricted area that he can be in. He's probably in the most restricted area he could be in. He doesn't have access to a phone. And I know this. How do I know this? Because he's not calling me, John. He's called me every time he's been locked up, during this whole process.
Right.
And I've been able to help him. I'm not able to help him. I can't do anything. And he's got to be, he'll make the best of it. He's sweet like that. He will. But if he's not given the proper meds.
As long as he's aware, I mean, and that's, from what I see, that's part of the problem, is he's not always aware of what is good for him or bad for him.
Yep.
And he's not going to be able to excuse me, advocate for himself and say, no, if I do that, I'm going to die.
Right.
Or if I don't take my medication, I'm going to have seizures all the time. So
He's not. And the kidney stone thing, which is chronic kidney stones now, they just appear and they need to be monitored on a regular basis so that because if you ever had a kidney stone, you're in drop dead, you're down on the ground screaming. It's like having a kid.
Yeah.
He doesn't even his brain doesn't register that level of pain.
Wow.
So we've been blessed that his doctor has caught it in enough time to keep blasting them so
Right.
that he doesn't die from a kidney stone.
Right, so he sees him on a regular basis.
Right,
Yeah.
and now he doesn't have that as a lifeline either.
So I mean, this may sound naive, but it seems to me that he has at least a few possible life-threatening medical issues that, if they aren't addressed or if they aren't monitored, could cause him to expire.
Yes, and I think there's as you're saying that, he kind of knows that too, in some way, some shape or form.
On some level.
And that scared him, but we kept saying, no, you'll be okay, you're
Right.
going to be treated well, you're going to be, they took him into Stein to make him competent. And the only reason they took him into Stein out of outpatient, because he was going outpatient, they took him inpatient, was because they couldn't get enough information from
Right.
him. Well, because he didn't have it. But I've even had experts reevaluate there, and it's bad. It's bad. But it was like summer camp. I was all freaked out about
Yeah.
it. And he gets there and he got to do bowling and he got to do karaoke and they let him have his leg, they let him have his wheelchair there. And this is like supposed to be a facility for the criminally insane, which I thought, oh my God, what's going to happen? But we were able to visit every night. We went every day. If we didn't go, we scheduled someone to go. But we went. We stayed. We kept him connected to the world,
Right.
and he did well. They found him competent because he could tell you what a jury was, and that was every day drilling it into his head. and stuff like that, but he still couldn't tell you if he did or didn't do the crimes he was accused of. And that if you, on a higher level, Supreme Court, they'll probably would find that that was wrong, that the way he was processed through and made to do what he did.
So I mean, what about his attorney?
Well, you know,
I mean, he's had a couple of different attorneys, has he not?
Four different attorneys. He had one that was court appointed,
Right.
Because after Rick died, his dad died in 2020. The attorney that he had was a friend of Rick's, and I said, well, you know, I wasn't. He lost in competency court, which should have never happened, and it was down to the last minute.
I mean, that completely blows my mind.
Yeah,
That someone could find him mentally competent.
I know.
And I mean, not in a. I don't mean to be negative about it, but it's like I met him before and I met him after, and he is not. I mean, he can survive. I mean, you know, he's not. But no, it's because I've had conversations with him about just various things. He has no clue what I'm talking about.
No.
You know, and there's no reason why he would, you know, try to scam me about stuff like that. But I could just tell that, you know, and he would just kind of nod and go, you know. But I knew he didn't. He had no clue what I was talking about.
No, because it was kind of a, and not just him, anyone with that type of a issues. They don't want to appear like they don't know.
Right.
But they also don't know. And with him, you can tell through his eyes, like he's either there, he's not there, or he's gone, you know. And but he would, so that was one of the things. John, do you know, we don't know who shot him. So he could be in the same prison, in the same cell with the guy that shot him, and he wouldn't know it.
Right.
And that was one of the risks we were willing to take, just to get him free from all of this. And yet they don't seem to take anything into consideration.
I mean, no one really knows who shot him.
No.
They have no idea. They have no idea whether whoever this was that shot him and dumped his body there at the hospital.
They don't know. We
don't know who that is, whether they've been incarcerated, whether they're out there running around, or
none. And the thing in Metro, as long as they say he shot himself, they never had to investigate who might have shot him. So that's
if he shot himself, where's the gun?
Good question. Where's the gun? What and who and where's the witness?
Yeah.
And he can't be he's not the witness. So in my world and in my reality, the only person that I would trust to know what happened would be my son, who can't tell me what happened.
Right.
So I have plenty of other what do you call it, like stories, or just like Metro has theirs, I have mine of how and what happened to him. And yet he couldn't go to I couldn't do the trial for him.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. He has to be there himself.
And he can't do it.
Right.
So we just had to throw our hands up and say, well, let's just hope that everything is fair and justice.
So, I mean, all you're really asking is some responsibility on the part of the correctional facility to make sure that he is taken care of and is safe medically and mentally. And I don't think that's too much to ask.
I'm not asking for, get him out, do anything different. Just give him the lifeline, give him the opportunity to have a phone to call me so that I can walk him through his day. Let me help him process, let me help him navigate, if you will. And what's that going to cost the state? A little different protocol, maybe, it's not their normal, but he's not normal. And yet they're not giving him what he needs. And I just pray that he comes out of this, a better man. I don't know if he can. One of the things that scares me or has bothered me as a mom, let's say, okay?
Yeah.
Is So as a kid, he went to Las Vegas Day School, he went to Faith Lutheran, he was a golfer, a motocross racer. You know, he was a good kid. And then he got married, and some complications arose from that and early, and then he just got lost, okay? And so he's in his 20s, I lost him, you know, to a world that wasn't the world that he was raised
Right.
in. But yet I still loved him deeply every day. I mean, in every way I possibly could, and gave him the space to learn and grow as a human being, whatever that was, what that looked like. It didn't have to be my way. But when I lost him at 20, I guess the part that scares me the most is he's 20 right now.
Yeah.
Am I going to lose him again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if anybody out there that's watching this, you know, if you know of anybody, whether it's a judge or an attorney or some legal professional that might be able to help Christine,
Help him.
I'll have her information here on the screen for you, and you can also contact us here at the station at WWDBTV on our website, on our Facebook page, or you all have my number. So, Christine, I you know, I hope that this does some good.
Me too.
And
Yeah, we got to get the story out and get the press can help us. Anybody
Right.
can help us. Please step up and help us, because again,
all you're
we can
asking
make-
is for his safety.
his safety, his health, his well-being,
Right.
and then also to maybe make a difference in those who follow in his
There are
footsteps. Now,
others. Yeah, he's
in-
not the only one in this situation. That's the criminal part of it.
the system does not and did not know what to do with him the entire time.
Well, I mean,
entire time they have no idea.
The medical health industry or the medical health in this state is almost non-existent.
Correct.
I mean, budget's been cut down to nothing. I mean, hell, we were shipping people on buses over to LA.
Yeah.
If you remember that.
Yes. Oh my God, I remember that.
Yeah.
And
So.
where's the let's make a difference. Let each of these stories make a difference for the next person who should come along that when we need that. And there's a lot of mental health people in there, or, you know, give them a lifeline. Give them the person, if it's not, you know, like in Ricky's case, it could be me because I know him oh so well.
Right.
Give them that person that they can speak to. And the social workers are apparently overloaded.
Oh, you know,
caseloads,
it's
just like out here.
Right.
They're overloaded in there,
Yeah.
and people are falling through cracks. And I just hate to see my son fall through a crack that, you know, wasn't really necessary. They could
Right.
have left him on house arrest, to be honest,
Yeah.
and let me continue to take care of him. But the DA's office didn't want to even. And I had over 40 letters that I got within 5 days or something that said, "Don't take him." Don't put him in a prison. He doesn't belong in a prison.
Yeah.
He needs to be at home where he can be taken care
Yeah,
of.
but the DA's only there to win cases.
Got it.
They don't give a shit about people,
No,
and you know it's true.
I know. And
So.
so it's a shame, you know.
All right, and I'm sorry, but we're kind of running
Yep.
out of time.
Thank you.
And
Thank you, everyone.
Guys, if you can help, you know what to do, and we appreciate any assistance, or if there's any of you out there that have similar stories or maybe have similar experiences that maybe you can help Christine with, please let us know. We're all in this together. You know, let's kind of try to make a difference and head down the right path. So thank you all for watching. Christine, thank you.
Oh, thank you, John. Oh,
All right.
I'm so grateful. Thank
Okay.
you.
That's it for today. Next week we'll be back, and maybe by that time we'll have some good news for you too. So thank you, and remember, if you're going to do it with styles.